Would you take the rook in this position or not? This game comes from a game I played in 2016 in an over-the-board tournament at the Marshall Chess Club. My opponent was 1,600. Was a very aggressive player. Really came at me. I think it's a really interesting and instructional game. And a lot of times in chess, we have an opportunity where we can take something, but it looks like it weakens or strengthens our opponent's attack. We have to make a decision and evaluate whether that's good or bad. Anyway, try to remember this position. We're going to start from the top, work our way back. We'll see how I got into that position and what was the best course of action. Anyway, all right, we have a queen's gambit. Not a queen's gambit, but a queen pawn opening. So far, so good. This is a pretty boring opening, I think, but I know how to play it. I like playing it. In this position, we have... okay, so basically White's not playing c4 for some reason, although White should have played c4 probably at some point, or at least c3. So Black also wants to play c5 because you want to take over the center in chess. You want to control the center. So c5 wants to be played. The problem with c5 is you wouldn't be allowed back to play the tournament ever again, because after doing this, I would have to take at least a 6-month hiatus because of just pure embarrassment. So what you have to do here is you have to protect the bishop first. You could play queen e7 is a fine move. It's the second best move. I actually played the top computer move here. I played bishop takes g7, and he took back. And now I played c5. Okay, so opponent c5, again, is you're fighting for the center. You're fighting for control of the center and space. That's one of the main objectives in chess. Okay, c3 is played. So far, we have an even position. I play queen e7. My opponent plays a5. Now, a5 is an interesting move. It's not bad. Wondering what the computer says. Computer says a5, one of the top moves. So, okay. I play a6 just to stop it from that pawn from encroaching any further. And he plays knight e5. So my opponent's playing very well. He has a good knight right here. Now the choice is, do you take the knight? Do you leave it? What do you do? Well, I like to take the knight in this position, and I think I played that. I did. And the reason why I take here is because it kind of takes a pawn that's from the center and brings it out and doubles the pawns. They're kind of goofy, those pawns. And now I can play knight d7, which attacks the pawn. And the knight's actually well placed here because not only can it go to the king side, it can go to the queen side if it has to. So it's a good centralized piece. This is forcing white to protect the pawn. So usually f4 would be coming, but he plays a nice move. He plays g4, attacking the bishop. Now, obviously, I can't take because I lose my bishop. So again, I would have to, retire if that happened. So okay, so I come back. All right, now he still has to defend, but g4 was a slick move because it allowed his pawn to go up the board further. It was a nice little in-between move, and maybe he could play g5 at some point, loosen my king. Who knows? F4. I'm a little nasal, if you could tell. I think I have some type of virus, some cold or something, but I'm hanging in there. Bear with me. By the way, if you like these videos, guys, please make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. I have a ton of content on its way out. I'm making all the time. When you subscribe, like, comment below, it really truly does help me and helps the channel, and therefore I could provide more videos that are entertaining and instructional for you guys. So really does help. Anyway, he does wind up protecting the pawn, and I play c4. Okay, now I remember this game, even though it's in 2016. I usually remember my over-the-board games because I put so much thought into them that I can pretty much almost remember, not move for move, but I have a vague memory of all my games. So I remember my idea here was to knight c5 and plant the knight at one of these two pawns. Now he should probably play b3, and that's what the computer says too now. Because you don't want to have holes in your position, so you want to challenge that pawn. If I take, you just take with the knight, and now he has no more holes. So that just seems like a no-brainer there. And what he definitely wouldn't want to do, if you think about it, is play b4, because that just guarantees you always have holes here. Okay, so after this, he plays knight f3. I prepare to bring my knight in here or here. Now this is a good square. It's anchored by a pawn and everything. It's hitting the rook. But long term, it is off towards the side of the board. And my knight would probably prefer to be here. That seems like one of the best squares the knight could be anchored to. So I'm going to try to put my knight on e3. That's what it looks like. My opponent steps back here. probably looking at this square again, but I'm not interested in that square. I'm interested in this square. Now, if you want your knight here and there was a bishop covering it, it wouldn't make sense to put your knight there. And that's what a lot of players do, because then they'll just take. And now your bishop ends up here, which is a good bishop anchored to the pawn. The only thing is it's better to have a knight anchored further up the board than it is a bishop. It just makes more sense. It just complements the knight to have a knight anchored up the board, because knights are not long-range pieces, so they need to be anchored so they can stay up the board. The bishop doesn't have to be up the board to be covering up the board, if that makes sense. Therefore, I would much rather play a move like bishop e3. And now my bishop's here. It's doing great. If you have a trades, then my knight comes here unchallenged from any light square bishops, because there is no more light square bishops. Okay, so let's go back. First, I played rook c8, though. There's no need to do anything too quickly. My opponent moves the queen. Now I jump in there. He doesn't take yet. He just plays rook a2. Why did he play rook a2? That's a good question. Trying to get inside the mind of a 1600. I'm thinking after this, I'm attacking that, and then he has to play that. So he's like, why don't I play that anyway? But like, I would take the queen here, so I don't really know. Anyway, he played rook a2. I was preparing to possibly double my rooks, or more likely probably use this rook to come into the defense, because he has a pawn storm coming to my king. I probably want to play f6 and uncover a defense along the 7th rank at some point. He takes, I take back with the knight, attack the queen. He moves the queen. I go queen c5, also the best #1 computer move. I'm just putting pressure on this pawn. The pawn can't move now and challenge the center because it's illegal. If the queen moves away, we have check, winning the knight. Or actually, we have this, and I'd win the exchange first. But anyway, he just goes f5. Now, I'm better here, but not too much better. And like I'm less than a pawn better, so I'm really basically even. f5 is a very challenging move. It puts a lot of pressure on me. Now, a lot of times when your opponent plays f5 and you have a structure like this, you want to take, and that's what I did. You don't want to not take. Let's say we didn't take, and now something like g5 comes. That's really tough. Even f6 in this position, kind of dangerous, because he's going to try to come in here and checkmate me. Now, thank goodness I can come back here and defend that, but you know, it's if my queen's not in the right spot, in the completely right spot to come back here, I get checkmated pretty quick. So anyway, I took here, got rid of one more pawn. It's one less pawn I have to deal with in the attack. And then I play rook e8. Just putting pressure on this pawn, so I can just grab this pawn at some point and lift the rook simultaneously at the same time. Then my rook could jump over here. So my rook could do something like this, and then at some point come here, hit the queen, and defend the king. Just very cool, calm, and collective. I'm not freaking out. I'm not saying these two pawns are going to destroy my king, checkmate me, ruin my whole night. I'm just like, hey, it's cool. Everything's fine. If he pushes here, we just take. If he takes, okay, we wound up winning a pawn, and there's no attack anymore. My opponent played correctly and played f6. Now, again, he's threatening checkmate. Okay, so we got to see stuff like that. If we don't see stuff like that, again, you know, we can't play chess, right? Because we'll lose so many games. So we have to see, you know, the basics. What's our opponent doing? What's our opponent's threat and idea? In this case, it's checkmate. Okay, I have to defend that. I could play this very passive, though. And after e6, I'm actually losing the game because let's say if I take, we have, you know, the rook goes. This is actually really bad. However, I kept a cool head, played g6, and I'm totally fine. Now my opponent plays rook f5. So my opponent is not scared of me, of being a high-rated player. He's not scared. He is really coming for me. Now, I can't take anyway, but it's just a bold move, and it looks like he wants to go rook h5 and attack here. So I got to give my opponent credit. It's pretty cool, but unnecessary at this time. So I just attack the rook. But what I'm really doing here is I'm setting up check, winning the queen. So I have a fork. My fork is the rook and the actual fork. So There you go. Now, my opponent here defended that, the main threat. Not only defended it, but I can't take the rook anymore because then that would be pretty embarrassing. Now, he's threatening checkmate. I can defend it, yes, for now, but after this, he can come back, rearrange his rook, and I don't see myself defending that anytime. I'll just show you guys. Let's say I just play a move here, something like actually, he can actually bring the knight in. It's even quicker, and come down here, and like this, and that's just game over. So, for that reason, I can't take the rook. So I played king h7. Now, I still think my opponent probably should play knight f3. Or actually, he can't here because I have this and just defending. My opponent is in a tough spot now, but a -1. It's not too much of a. It's not. I wouldn't say it's winning by any means. It's borderline, but he can just step out of it. Actually, rook a1. When I come back, he's fine. Maybe come back here, and it's a game. I'm better, definitely better, but it's a game. Okay, after king h7, he does play rook a1, and then he plays rook h5, though. So I said after rook a1, and I come back here, he should play this, but he plays rook h5. And this is a complete blunder. And when I asked you guys in the beginning of the video, comment below whether you, be honest, whether you said you would take it or if you didn't. Because it's important that we're honest with ourselves in chess because that's how we evaluate our games and get better. And here, a lot of players, I think, might be afraid to take, why? Well, not only does it open up your king this way, it opens up your king on the light square diagonal, and he could come in for a check, and that looks scary. His pawn's here, and there's a mating square there, and maybe, his queen can somehow come in here, but it's all an illusion. My king is perfectly safe here. In fact, I took here, he threw in a check, I moved out of the way, and there's no way for him to infiltrate. He would have to take, right? And then he would have checkmate. The problem is it's too slow, and I'm attacking him. So he took this pawn at h5. So he got 2 pawns for the rook, not good enough. He broke open my king. The problem is he's attacking h6. Now, h6 is important because not only is he attacking h6, but now it's checkmate, right? But the problem is I also have an attack of my own. His king is weak. I played, I didn't play that. I played queen takes e3 here, check. And after at this point, my opponent actually resigned. Now, why did he resign? He's down a rook. And if he comes out of the check, I have plenty of moves here. I actually can take this pawn. I can do a couple of things. But I would probably just take the knight here. And I'm defending h6. I'm up 2 pieces now, defending everything. Let's say he goes for mate. Here I could, I would just take his queen here, so that would be good. So let's say after this check, he goes h2. I take, and he goes for checkmate. What would I do here? Just rook g8. Rook g8 stops the checkmate, takes over the g file. I'm protecting the vulnerability on h6. After he moves out of the way, that would be checkmate. He would have to guard that. So let's say something like this. And now there's plenty of things we can do here. I think this is really good. Oh, no, it's really bad. That actually would be horrible. That's stopping the connection between my queen and pawn. That would be terrible, and that would be checkmate. But what is good is just simply knight takes e5. And this is a completely winning game. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked that video. When you're defending, when you're winning, you have to take something. You have to trust yourself in chess. That's all you have. You don't have your coach or your whatever, your computer, your engine with you when you're playing. You really have to trust yourself. Try to evaluate the position objectively. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. And if you like that video, check out this one. I'll catch you guys next time. Go play some chess.